What? These are the boys.
I think I also just have a type, so...
I think you do. So I'm currently putting together a visual novel, and I call it the 2 Gs, goth and gay. But hold your applause. And I'm trying to record some of my process throughout the whole thing. If you did not see part 1, please go ahead and watch it, or watch it after this. For this one, I'm going to do something a little different where I actually do some more voiceover content, speed paints, mostly just because I'm still working with my new mic. So if you appreciate the new sounding new mic, please let me know. Because I like getting praised. Please. Please. But yeah, onward with the video, I guess. Hello everyone, it is VoiceOver Jax. And today we're going to be talking about what I'm doing here, which is using a vector layer rather than a raster layer, which would be just a regular layer you can use in Clip Studio Paint. And some of the differences between the two and why maybe you want to choose one over the other. To begin, so this is a little example for the raster layer and the vector layer. This is how they look in Clip Studio Paint. One nice thing is you can kind of clear up the edges using this vector-based eraser rather than just using a regular eraser. Makes it nice and smooth, very quick.
It's like
raster layers are great. They take to liquefying very easily, but if you liquefy too much, you're going to lose some of the quality of your work. With vector layers, you can clean it up with the vector eraser, everything like that, and you can still vectorize it, but then it loses its qualities as a vector layer. Vector layers can be like sized up, adjusted very much. They're very forgiving because they're math, rather than raster is going to start to lose some of its quality the more you scale it up or shrink it down.
Oh no, it's so fuzzy.
And with vector layers, there's a lot of cool things you can do about it. While you can't really like liquefy it, everything like that, you can still use a lot of tools that are in this little toolbar for vector layers, which I suggest definitely just playing around with. I used in this the pinch tool as well as the redraw tool a lot. And that's how I'm doing a lot of these expressions, and this is me painting over the expression afterwards, and you'll see me using it more and more. The reason I use this is because I knew I was going to be adjusting them for the expressions. I didn't know how big everything was going to be initially. Last time I made a visual novel was a few years ago, and I also didn't really do sprites. So I wanted them to be in a good high quality state. So if I wanted to make them bigger, I can make them bigger. If I can make them smaller, I can make them smaller. Now the Liquify tool, it's kind of a love and hate relationship with it. I love the Liquify tool. It works great. It's great for little fixes here and there. If you saw part 1, I did try using the Liquify tool a little bit for some expressions, and I ended up just not liking how it was looking with the first character here over to the left. Left, right? I don't know my right from left. Please don't make fun of me. But yeah, so you lose some quality with the Liquify tool, which can be kind of a pain. But it is great for quick fixes, everything like that. And I still use it a lot in my work. Even for some of these colors that are just like slightly off, I was able just to nudge them over just a smidge with the Liquify tool, since all the colors are done through a raster layer. And that goes into my next thing, which is me duplicating layers and using them for different expressions. The nice thing with that is, honestly, if you name your layers, I know I talked about this, I wish I named my layers more. If I could pay myself to name my layers more, then maybe I would. But separation is nice. It makes it really easy and clean to be able to work with some of these like nuances, everything like that. Having the skin on a separate layer makes it so I can just make a quick clipping mask and just add that blush like you just saw there. It makes everything very quick, very easy. And for making a new expression, it's as easy as turning off a whole group and you're able to see the next expression and this and that. And I'm also able to duplicate some of these expressions that I've already done and use those on other expressions, which makes everything 100 times easier. As you can see with like the embarrassed expression, I was able to use that from like kind of like the sad expression, so on and so forth, and just slowly started adjusting it. That's why separating is super great. And it's the less painting you have to do over top of it. While I do still do some paintings over top of it, I usually just keep that as a normal like raster layer that's right on top, which is great. It's just good for little details. I did that with like the tears on the one, with the smoke here, as you can tell. Everything like that works great. I'll go into it some other time. I just recently talked about on Twitter that I want to make a tutorial for people that might like want some tips on digital art, because I've been doing it for a long time and I think it might be nice. Carrying on, we have trying to keep consistent between characters. For me, trying to keep these things consistent was very important to me. As you can tell, I was working between these two. These are the main characters for it. Still pending on names. Left might have the name Core. I kind of like it, but we'll see as I'm going through the process here. I'll get into that maybe on a later date. If you have any suggestions, honestly, leave them below. That would be cool. That'd be sick or whatever. Try to keep consistent between the characters. So I'm using a lot of the same like purples, but in different hues to still have a little bit of a differentiation. Working with my layers in a similar way for all of them, just to make sure that when they're all together, the coloring at least looks consistent and it still groups them together. So I have this kind of hard light purple that changes a little bit slightly, so everyone kind of still has their like own shade of purple, but it's still something that will keep them kind of unionized. Same realm, same place. And for me, how I'm kind of working through a lot of my story right now is I started with the idea. I mean, I got the software and I was like, okay, what can I do? What can I write? What's a story I want to tell? And one of those stories was two gay goths being in love, and that's how it started, honestly, which was honestly my first idea. I liked it too much not to go with it and give it a try, and I didn't want something that I was gonna be too invested in, because I love vampires like a little too much, I think. But I can't just for like a first project that's short, I just think I would be too involved, too deep into it to make a short game. I'd want to make a longer game for something like that. And this is just me just testing the waters. From there, I kind of started from the characters and some of the character designs. And my initial thought with this idea was that I wanted a corporate goth and I wanted a more traditional goth, or traditional enough. And you can see that a lot with like as more so the makeup and everything of this guy here I'm working the expressions on than our corporate goth pal over yonder. And the idea, I just thought it would be more interesting to kind of like see someone that was working a corporate job that, couldn't, be all dressed up in their whole shabam. My kind of headcanon for him is probably that he, in high school and everything, he dressed up more corporate. And maybe we'll get more, or not corporate, but more, alternatively. He dressed a little bit more, what's the word? More outwardly, like a little bit more like our character here. Remember, more traditional, big hair, big makeup, but had to tone it down a little bit for a more professional environment. But I'd say he still likes it and probably still does it, honestly, in his free time. Which we start with some of those characters, and then I have some of those side characters too that I'll probably get into either in the next part or a whole other video when I'm actually near finished. We will see, but we're downloading those, and you can always check out my stream on Twitch to see some of the process and everything of me doing it in real time. Now for the story and the script, usually people like to work, very differently. For me, it was very much like idea, character, like story / script kind of thing, and then working on the game, which the game is going to be always at the end point, because you kind of have to have that all planned out initially before doing anything. And it's honestly what works best for you. Now I'm working on the script. Inspiration just comes at random times, so I like to just write it all down. And I talked a little bit about getting the idea. I got it really late at night. Some of the conflicts and everything that I thought about for the actual story portion of it, I was actually on my 15-minute lunch break at work. So at your little elf work. It's that time of year. I'm a busy little elf. And it's just breaking things down. We're making them more manageable. I'm trying to figure out the beginning, the middle, and the end, and some of those resolutions. And since it is a visual novel, I have to think about not only beginning, middle, and end, I also have to think about, okay, what are the different routes there would be? And so far I have that there's going to be 2 main routes and one kind of funny route. It might grow more, but we'll see. I'm trying to keep it pretty basic for right now. And having some of those causes and effects with those 3 routes is pretty fun. It builds a lot of character, and just seeing some of those, how those characters will develop and move and change is what's really making it really fun and worth it, honestly. It's always important to be asking yourself questions and everything throughout the whole process. What would happen if I didn't have my coffee this morning? Would I be super grouchy and mad? Probably. Who knows? I didn't have enough sleep. That's a cause and effect right there. It's also just important to have fun. I'm creating something for something I enjoy, and that's always going to help put all those pieces together for you. And that is all the time there. These are the expressions there. I really liked how they came out. I think they came out pretty nice. I think they're really cute together. And they're still very different in a kind of fun way. If you like this video or you got some inspiration from it, please consider give me a little give me a little follow, or whatever you'd like to do. Or watch me on Twitch at Jack Silver, Twitch TV. You know the thing. You know the doodad. I'll see you there. Thank you for coming to the garden this evening. Goodbye.